On the third floor of the Floyd County Courthouse in Charles City, Iowa today, it was an overflow crowd packing the hallway outside the courtroom set aside for today's town hall. Inside, they filled every seat and then some, even the juror's box. Iowa voters, most of them furious with the direction Donald Trump is taking America.
So I would like you to respond to how you're dealing with his lies and the attack on the press.
Here today to give their message in person to their senator, who's back in town for a few days from Washington. In Iowa, that's Republican Chuck Grassley. He got an earful.
Please explain to us, your Iowa constituents, your hypocrisy and your willingness to ignore our Constitution.
We had impeachment.
It's no surprise to Grassley. He'd even listed the topics he knew he'd hear about: healthcare, refugees, Russia. Someone shouted out, "Respect for Trump." Another yelled, "Re-election." It's clear people who came here today feel gutted about their new president.
I feel sad. I feel dissatisfied. I feel emotional about the way he talks to people and demeans people and treats people. I think it's absolutely disgusting, quite frankly.
Did you ever think you'd be saying things like that about the president of your country?
No.
It's a scene that's playing out across America this week. With Congress on a break, it's the first chance federal politicians have had since Trump was sworn in last month to hear directly from voters back home. So, in Arkansas.
What would you say to my American children, my daughter right here, who fear that our family might be separated and their daddy might be sent away?
2020, you're gone.
Louisiana. Kentucky. All Republican strongholds, all now finding loud opposition to the Republican president. And all of it underlining the ever-deepening divide in this country. On stark display today back in Iowa. Because for all the shouting, there are also countless Americans not showing up at those town halls, content to go about their days, giving Trump the time and freedom to do what he does. Because the truth is, there's also a lot of support for Donald Trump in America. Just down the street from the Charles City Courthouse, Trump voter Brian Ellsbury, who runs a local coffee shop and who quietly gives Trump a private thumbs up.
I think he has a core value. He's changed a little bit, but for the most part, he's delivering what he promised.
To those turning out at all the town halls this week, says Ellsbury, he felt the same way when Obama was elected.
The difference between them and me is I'm not out there protesting. I'm biding my time. I'm waiting for the next election because that's what democracy is.
Meanwhile, just outside town, more Trump backers. Like Brian Ellsbury, farmers Linda and Dean Jaden don't go to town halls or take placards to demonstrations. They're among the many millions of Americans who want to give Trump a chance. It's his turn now.
And I don't want this to be a bashing of the Democratic Party or anything, but 8 years ago, we elected a person that kind of promised us hope and change, and what did we get? We got bigger government, we got more regulations, and a lot of us, the silent majority, just didn't want that.
They know that Trump's not perfect, and for example, are as concerned as anyone about his relationship, still unproven, with Russia. But they like that he's a straight talker, and they know that some of what he's trying to do can be misinterpreted, such as his crackdown on illegal immigrants.
If you look at the end of the day, what he's trying to do is really get rid of the criminals, the ones that are here illegally and are doing damage. They're hurting people.
Of course, it remains a different message back at the Floyd County Courthouse. Here, the questions go on for more than an hour, mostly polite, but firm. Iowa nice, they call it.
So yes, I am talking to you. Are you going to oppose that?
Well, even if at times afterwards it gets heated.
Then why do you think that you support him?
Because he is part of how we're going to get it.
You need to change this up here because that is not the way to think.
Leaving those who oppose Trump with the view that the divide in America seems unbridgeable.
We have to speak up, and we have to make ourselves known, and we have to become activists.
Paul Hunter, CBC News, Charles City, Iowa.
So, Paul, love that Iowa nice reference. You know, we've seen grassroots protesters and pushback against presidents before. This feels different. Why is that?
Yeah, I don't know, it's the Trump factor. No one really knows what he's going to do next, right? I mean, he's different than any president anyone has ever seen before. And so you have different responses to it. For Democrats, it's kind of like the fear of the unknown when it comes to Trump. For Republicans, the unknown brings hope and optimism because, at least theoretically, he's on their side. But nobody really knows. And with Barack Obama, people kind of thought they knew what he wanted to do broadly with the country. They could agree or they could disagree. They could protest or they could not, but they kind of knew where he was going. With Trump, it's not like that. It's like a high stakes work in progress. And the result of that is that emotions get ratcheted that much higher. And, a month and a week or so into his presidency, and you have weeks like we saw here with, no doubt, more to come.
Indeed. Looks like some mucky weather there. Thanks, Paul.